Hey y'all, I am back with my video on Venus and Taurus. So if you have Venus and Taurus, this is for you. Some of what I say could also apply if you have Venus in the second house, as well as Venus in aspect to a planet in Taurus, and those that have Taurus in the seventh house, as well as those who have Taurus in the second. Some of what I say could apply to you as well. So if you've seen my other videos on Venus through the signs, you know I like to start off with a quote. So this quote is by Lester Cole. It says, "The Japanese say if the flower is to be beautiful, it must be cultivated." And that's very apropos to Venus and Taurus. Venus and Taurus is about savoring. So the key word that I have for Venus and Taurus is savor. Savor the flavor or savor the moment. So basically, Venus and Taurus individuals are very much about savoring things that bring them pleasure, taking the time to really enjoy it and engage the senses. Tangible is another key word that I came up with for Venus and Taurus. Makes me think of the song that was originally sung by Aretha Franklin and then En Vogue covered it, giving him something he can feel. So tangible is about what you can feel, what you can hold in your hands, or what you can see, what you can actually verify. Cultivate is another key word. Cultivate meaning to promote or improve growth by labor and attention, to develop or improve by education or training, train or refine. So the root word of cultivate is cult, and I do call Taurus the cult leader of the zodiac. More on that in a minute. Another key word, bullshit. As you know, Taurus is the sign of the bull, and Taurus, Venus and Taurus individuals, mind you, will often call people out on their bullshit, or they'll say bullshit if you have not verified your claims. So this makes me think of financial aid. So I used to be a financial aid officer, and some students would be selected for this process called verification when they submitted their financial aid application. So financial aid would be Scorpio, and then the verification process would be Taurus. So that whole Taurus Scorpio opposition comes into play with financial aid, and that whole verification is very much about basically substantiating your claims. So substantiation is very much Venus and Taurus. Practical. Venus and Taurus individuals are practical, and they have a tendency to give sound advice. And also, they can often be the voice of reason. Indulgent. Venus and Taurus individuals are very much about indulging themselves, very much about experiencing pleasurable sensations. They will keep Starbucks in business, Dunkin' Donuts too. And the same goes for wine. Venus and Taurus is wine itself. Makes me think of Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is basically a wine connoisseur. He has Venus and Taurus, and I think he owns his own vineyard. So that's very Venus and Taurus. Sensual. Venus and Taurus individuals are sensual. Sensuality reigns supreme. So sensuality is Taurus, and you could look at that as like the foreplay that comes before sex, which would be Scorpio. So again, that Taurus Scorpio opposition comes into play. Seductive. Venus and Taurus individuals can be quite seductive. Prince has Venus and Taurus. So there you go. Hospitality. So Venus and Taurus makes me think of Southern hospitality. So you'll have Venus and Taurus people inviting you over. They're offering you food, offering you a tall glass of iced tea or lemonade, making sure that you feel nice and comfortable. So hospitality is very Venus and Taurus. And some Venus and Taurus individuals may work within the hospitality industry. Venus and Taurus people, a lot of them like to cook and bake, And this could be one of the ways that they show their love. Cooking for your mate. So Venus and Taurus individuals may like to cook for their mate, or they could attract a mate who likes to cook for them. Now, don't be surprised if you're cooking dinner for your mate, he comes up to you and puts his arms around you or squeezes your butt, makes you feel all good, because they could get turned on by watching you cook dinner for them. Gardening. Venus and Taurus can produce a green thumb. So gardening with your mate could help to keep the relationship intact. Now, your mate may give you flowers on occasion as an expression of love. But sometimes flowers can mean that they feel guilty about something. So this right here is from Rosemary's Baby. It's a horror film. If you haven't seen it, you definitely want to check it out. Now, Venus and Taurus individuals are the kind of people who play Monopoly to win, and they will want to be the banker. It's all about the money game with Venus and Taurus. Luxury. Venus and Taurus people are drawn to luxury, and this is where some of them can get into trouble financially. So, for instance, if Venus and Taurus is placed in the third house, the person could have a luxury car, have a huge car note as a result. Gifts. So with Venus and Taurus, you may attract a mate who will buy you nice things, buy you jewelry, expensive perfume, take you out to fine restaurants. So that's one of the benefits that comes with Venus and Taurus. Now, some Venus and Taurus individuals will put money before love. Financial security could keep them in an unfulfilling or unhealthy relationship. Venus and Taurus individuals don't like to make moves unless it's a sure thing. This is why Taurus is in conflict with Leo, the sign that rules gambling and the stock market. And just think about the term bullseye, hitting the bullseye. Very Taurus. Like when Taurus does something, they're going to make sure that they can hit it, they can hit the mark. So you can look at that for love and also money. Venus and Taurus is built for the long haul with respect to both relationships and work. So a person with Venus and Taurus, they could be working at the same job for years. They could be married to the same person for many years. So Venus and Taurus is conducive to longevity because of that security and stability that it provides. Now, possessiveness is often a problem with Venus and Taurus individuals. So either the Venus or Taurus individual will be possessive, or they could attract a mate who is possessive. And the same goes for jealousy. So Venus and Taurus individuals could have a problem with being very jealous. Venus and Taurus individuals can be superficial, where it's all about appearances and material success. Some Venus and Taurus people lack depth, or they could attract a mate who is very shallow, really, where they're just about basic things, simple pleasures, and there's really nothing too interesting about them. Of course, stubbornness is a problem for a lot of people with Venus and Taurus. Also, they could attract a mate who is stubborn. And just look at this sign language for the word stubborn. It looks like she's putting up a bullhorn. So, very Taurus. Now, don't expect your mate, if you have Venus and Taurus, to be passionate, animated, spontaneous, and enthusiastic, unless they have other things in their chart that counteracts the traits of this Venus and Taurus. Now, they may actually be a bore at times. Now, part of the reason why Venus and Taurus can be a bore is due to the inclination towards being methodical. Venus and Taurus sticks to what works. Security. Threaten a Venus and Taurus individual, and they will be quick to call for security. Now, I bet there's a disproportionate number Venus and Taurus people when it comes to restraining orders and orders of protection. I would also bet that there's a lot of Venus and Taurus people right now that are getting upset with people that are not following that social distancing trend right now, where, if they see somebody that's not staying 6 feet away from them, they might, get all upset and say something about it. Venus and Taurus individuals approach new relationships in a cautious manner. So a relationship could take a while to get underway simply because of that cautious nature that Taurus produces. A lot of Venus and Taurus individuals have high standards, so potential mates better come correct. Some Venus and Taurus individuals move like sloths, especially if Venus is in the first house or the third. They could attract a partner who is slow to do everything, even when it comes to making a full-fledged commitment. Venus and Taurus is the singer, so you'll have quite a few Venus and Taurus individuals who have great singing voices, as you'll see when I get into the celebrity. Some Venus and Taurus individuals have a natural talent for dancing. That song by the OJs, I Love Music, makes me think of Venus and Taurus. I love music, sweet, sweet music. So just some examples of people that have Venus and Taurus. James Brown, one of the best dancers ever. Prince, another great dancer. Chris Brown. All of them have Venus and Taurus, and they can all dance. Art. Venus and Taurus can produce a natural talent for the visual arts, like painting. There's Salvador Dali right there, and he has Venus in Taurus. Venus in Taurus is about style and class. So you'll have some Venus and Taurus individuals that are very much into dressing well, looking the part, looking like they're high class. And that's a man, believe it or not. So when I be doing my trans investigation thing and y'all be, saying that can't be true and that's not, look how feminine this man looks. Unfortunately, she passed away. So, and actually, this is from Paris is Burning. It's a really good documentary about the club scene, the drag queen scene back in the 80s. Fashion design. So Venus in Taurus is really good for fashion design. So you'll have some fashion designers that have Venus in Taurus or Venus in the second house. And the same is true for interior design. Venus in Taurus is essentially about interior design. It's about design, period. Now, some Venus and Taurus individuals could go broke buying nice furniture. Venus and Taurus individuals may not be too keen on furniture that they have to assemble themselves. They really want things ready-made. So they're really not the IKEA type. They're more of the Ethan Allen type or the Thomasville Gallery, where, those higher end furniture stores where it already comes assembled. And with my South Node and Taurus, I could definitely relate. Hoarding. So some Venus and Taurus individuals could have a problem with hoarding. So you know how we're dealing with this toilet paper shortage right now? I guarantee you a lot of people with Venus and Taurus got a whole stockpile of toilet paper in their homes. So if you know anybody with Venus and Taurus and you run out of toilet paper, you already know where to go. Survival. Venus and Taurus is all about survival. And sometimes that's what life is all about for some of them. Bear Grylls is a perfect example. Being stuck in a rut. So with Venus and Taurus, you could get stuck in a rut from time to time and have a hard time moving on and adapting to new situations. And with that comes being inflexible. So Venus and Taurus individuals can be quite inflexible, and that's where the whole cult leader comes in. So some Venus and Taurus individuals could attract a mate who tries to enforce their values upon you. So they could be akin to a cult leader. All right, Venus and Taurus fashion. So here's Melania Trump. She's the first lady, wife of Donald Trump. So here are some of her Venus and Taurus looks. Chris Brown, he has Venus and Taurus. Here are some of his Venus and Taurus looks. As you can see with both, um, typically very much covered, very much, the clothes even look kind of heavy if you think about it, and that's very Taurus, very earthy. Same here, clothes look kind of heavy, like the person, look at that jacket, he's well insulated. Let's get into some Venus and Taurus celebrities. So we have Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is a Gemini, and he has Venus conjunct Mercury. So that means that he's very financially savvy, and that can point to his knowledge of wines. Because, like I said, he's very much a wine connoisseur. Oh, he looks bad right here. He also has Venus square Saturn, so that could produce money problems. And I think he did run into some money problems with his ex wife. He has Venus in trine to his Capricorn South Node, and also Venus conjoined to Algol. Algol is one of the most unfortunate fixed stars in the heavens. You might as well say it's the most unfortunate fixed star. They actually call it the demon star, and it can produce all manners of things such as murder, crime, beheading, even getting choked out. Number of problems can come with this algol. So that makes me think of some of the speculation about him. Typically, River Phoenix. Just do a little research on Johnny Depp and River Phoenix if you don't know what I'm talking about. Moving along, Ariana Grande with her cute little self. Um, she has Venus in Taurus, and Venus is in trine to her ascendant, so that deals with her beauty and her high attractiveness factor. Now, Venus is opposed to Pluto, and that can cause her to be indebted to others, or where she is dealing with some oppressive influence or someone is controlling her. So that could be very problematic. She has Venus square Chiron, so relationships will be very hard. Venus opposition Pluto could be very hard on relationships too, especially in terms of infidelity and betrayal. Also, she has Venus and sesqui square with her moon and Jupiter. That makes me think that her generosity is constantly being tested with respect to her family. Chris Brown. So Chris Brown has Venus in Taurus, like I said already. He has Venus conjoined to his moon, so that I could deal with him coming from a talented family, a family of artists or musicians. Also, he has Venus conjoined to Capulus, which is a fixed star that can deal with strong dominant energy. He also has Venus parallel Acellus, and I'm trying to remember what that dealt with in particular, but I believe it does deal with something dealing with conflict. Stephen Curry, or Steph Curry, he has Venus conjoined to Jupiter, which is an aspect of wealth. He's another one with Venus opposition Pluto, so he could be indebted to someone. He better stay married to his wife because she'll be getting him for all that money. Venus trine Neptune is another very nice aspect for money, and that can make him very fluid on the basketball court, so he can, dip and dive and do that. What do you call that? Crossover stuff and all that stuff, probably. Um, I never really saw him in action on the basketball court. He has Venus trine Mars, which is really good for moving, being able to move around and stick and move and all that. Venus sesqui square Sun, that can make him too willful in a relationship. And Venus semi-square North Node. Did I say sesqui square Sun? Semi-square Sun and North Node. His Sun is in Pisces, North Node in Pisces. So there's some secrecy thing going on. And I believe he has cheated on his wife. Ice Cube has Venus conjoined to Saturn. So that makes him very shrewd when it comes to money, very much about business. And that can make him kind of, kind of strict and, hard nosed about things. He also has Venus sesqui square Pluto, so he can have challenges with being faithful in a relationship. He has Venus semi square Sun, sesqui square South Node. Trying to remember what's his South Node in. South Node in Virgo. And then he has Venus parallel Bacchus. That makes me think, like, is he putting on sex parties and stuff like that? Is he hosting? Remember I talked about the hospitality? Might be, because Bacchus can deal with orgies, but it can also deal with wine. So maybe he has a collection of wine. Maybe he has a wine cellar in his home. Who knows? Gladys Knight. Gladys Knight has Venus trine Aquarius. And that right there, even though her Venus is in Taurus, Aquarius is at the South Node's at the 0 degree of Aquarius, and her Venus is at like the 28th degree. So that's a trine, even though it's in signs that don't normally trine, that would be called a dissociative trine. So with this aspect right here, it points to having a very wide vocal range and where she can hit those high notes, low notes, all that good stuff. Talk about when they talk about octaves, that's very Aquarius. So if you have somebody that has Venus in aspect to Aquarius or even Uranus in their chart, they could have a wide vocal range. She also has Venus trine Neptune, which is great for music, singing. Venus trine midheaven, great for career. And Venus squaring the moon, she probably had to cut off some family members as a result of them trying to get at her money. And that can also produce issues with her mother. James Brown. James Brown has Venus in Taurus. He's a Taurus sun. So he has Venus conjoined to his sun. That's great for being talented, great for being an artist, a singer, a dancer. Venus trine Jupiter, that's great for money. And that means that, he was just very world renowned. Venus squaring his ascendant, squaring his moon. His ascendant and moon are in Leo. Makes me think of his face. You know what I say, that monument face. But the fact that he's a Leo rising, I was like, he does kind of have a lionine face, if you really look at it. So he had like a lion type of face. And then with Venus squaring Saturn, that can also deal with where, he had issues with the way he looked. And he just wasn't good in relationships, very controlling, and he was abusive towards women. Salvador Dali. So Salvador Dali is a Taurus, or was a Taurus. And the reason why his art was so weird is because he has Venus square Chiron in Aquarius, also semi-square Pluto. That points to the dark, morbid themes of some of his artwork. Very weird dude, as you can see. Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg has Venus conjoined to Mercury. That can contribute to his musical career and writing. Also, he might do a lot of public speaking. I think he is very vocal on certain topics. And then he also has Venus squaring his North Node. Oh, Venus is also conjoined to Saturn, so he's another one that's very shrewd about his money. Venus trine Pluto, that deals with his body. So, because Pluto's in Virgo, so he works out a lot. He still is nicely cut up in his older age. And he has Venus sextile midheaven, which is really good for career. And that can mean that, he attracts a lot of women. Venus trine Pluto as well. And Sasha Obama. So Sasha Obama, let me see, what is her sun sign? She is a Gemini. And she has Venus conjoined to her Capricorn South Node, and that deals with her being a daughter of one of the presidents. She has Venus squaring her moon and Neptune in Aquarius, which makes me really wonder about what's really going on in that family. I would speculated before that her and her sister, what's her sister, Malia, they're adopted. And this Venus square moon and Neptune in Aquarius, that can kind of point to that. She also has Venus semi-square sun as well. Oops, my bad. Bear Grylls. So I spoke about him briefly already. He's a survivalist and he teaches people how to survive in the wild and all that. That's so Venus and Taurus. So he has Venus opposing his Scorpio ascendant. So that points to like life and death situations or life threatening situations he always puts himself in. Venus sextile Mercury, that's him teaching people about survival, and Mercury and Saturn. And he has Venus quincunx Neptune. Neptune's in Sagittarius. So that points to him always having to travel, which can conflict with that Venus and Taurus because Venus and Taurus wants stability. And that could also point to issues he has in his relationship. He could be sneaking around, or it could just mean that he's rarely around for his partner. Left eye. So Lisa Lopez, also known as Left Eye, Gemini, and she had, where's she at? She had Venus conjoined to Mercury, which is good for writing music, being a rapper. Venus square Mars, very hard with relationships. So no wonder why she burned down Andre Rison's house. And the way she tells it, what really got her steam was that he had bought all these sneakers for himself and didn't buy her any. Very Venus and Taurus. Remember I talked about the whole gift theme? She also had Venus sesqui square Pluto that can make her very vindictive and vengeful, but that can also mean that she was around some negative influences. Venus sextile Moon, and that points to her going to Honduras because her moon is in the 12th house, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure. Yup, moon in Cancer in the 12th. So that points to her going to Honduras and, getting away and all that. Venus opposition Estrella, her going too far in terms of a relationship, but that can also point to her going to Honduras. Al Green. Al Hot Grits Green. He is, let me see, what is his sun sign? Al Green is Aries. And he has Venus square Pluto, which can result in attracting a vengeful and vindictive, jealous woman, which is exactly what happened. And that's how he got burnt with the hot grits. Venus sesame square Moon, that can produce challenges with women. And he has Venus parallel to Nebula, which is a fixed star that can point to mental illness, undesirable associates, catastrophes, and despair. So if Venus is parallel to Nebula, that can represent a woman that he gets with. And that woman that poured the hot grits on him, she did have mental illness, and she ended up killing herself after she put the hot grits on him. Very tragic story. Patti LaBelle. So Patti LaBelle has Venus trine Aquarius. She's a Gemini. I love myself some Patti. She has Venus trine Aquarius South Node, just like who was I talking about? Patti LaBelle? No, Gladys Knight. Wait a minute, was I talking about Gladys Knight? I'm tripping. It's late. Forgive me. And I got these notes all handwritten with these people. So I gotta, yeah. So she has Venus trine Aquarius South Node. Like I said, that can produce that wide vocal range. She has Venus square Jupiter, which could cause her to be overly indulgent. So she has dealt with some weight problems. She has Venus conjoined to Capulus and conjoined to Panacea. That Venus conjunct Panacea makes me wonder if she has kidney problems, like if she ever had diabetes. Billy D. Williams. Colt 45 works every time. Talking like that. That's that very Venus and Taurus type of suave voice. Venus and Taurus can produce that suave type of character, and he definitely capitalized on that. So he has Venus conjoined to Uranus and Mercury. When I saw that Venus conjoined to Uranus, I was like, remember he came out recently saying he was like gender fluid and he's always been or something. I'm like, yo, he telling the truth. He has Venus quincunx Mars, which can point to problems with his masculinity. Venus sesame square Neptune, he probably likes to wear women's clothes. He basically did say that he's gender fluid. Kingy. Chingy is one of those guys that he was cute when he was young, but then with age, it's just not working out. He has Venus conjoined to Chiron, so that could point to being in an unconventional relationship. So there's just something odd or strange about the type of women that he attracts. Didn't he get called out for being with a transgender woman? He also has Venus trine Mars. That could produce a good dancer and somebody that's very likable by men and women. Venus, oh, he also has Venus trine Jupiter, which is really good for money and also, being that type of person that a lot of people like. Venus semi-square Sun. Shaka Khan, she has Venus and Taurus conjoined to Mars, opposing Saturn, contra-parallel North Node in Aquarius. So she's another singer with a wide vocal range, can hit those high notes, can also like really sing very low, and also, just belt out these long ass notes, very much Aquarius influence. So do you see the connection? Common. Never was a really big fan of Common. Common has Venus trine Jupiter, which is really good for making a lot of money and for being popular. Venus sextile Moon, Venus conjoined to Hamal, which is a very challenging fixed star. It could deal with cruelty, brutality, violence. It makes me think of when he got with Serena. Anyway, Venus conjoined to part of private enemies as well. He has Venus conjoined to Shadir. Shadir is good for writing, but it's also good for astrology. I wouldn't be surprised if he was all up on astrology. He looked like the type. Shoot, he might watch my channel. What's up, Carmen? Danny Trejo. Danny Trejo is a Gemini. No, I'm sorry, he's a Taurus. Actually, this is one thing I was really looking at recently. I was like, some people with strong Taurus energy, they could be so earthy that their face will look like a spoiled potato. And that's how his look. You know how you might have had a potato in the back of the cabinet and you didn't know it was there, and then you pull it out and it's all wrinkled up and all. Yeah, that can deal with being too earthy, being too earthbound. Now he has Venus square Jupiter, which can make him overly indulgent, and he did have a problem with drug addiction, so he must have took a lot of drugs. Venus trine Chiron, that could deal with being an award winner, having special gifts, special talents. Venus opposition part of marriage. He has been married before, but he's now divorced. So I'm wondering what went on with that. Maybe his ex-wife took a lot of his money, and he has Venus contra parallel Psyche. So he's been through some troubling times, more than likely in his youth. Um, that could just deal with serious wounds that never heal, psychological wounds. Venus sesqui square North Node. That's James Franco, by the way. Let me see, what's his sign? James Franco. He is an Aries. He has Venus sesqui square North Node in Libra. So he definitely has some relationship issues. He has Venus trine Moon. So that could deal with him being really popular with the ladies or being a ladies' man. He has Venus square Saturn. That could produce money problems, also issues with control in relationships. And he has Venus conjoined to Rana. And that really like perked my curiosity, because Rana can deal with drowning and also boating accidents. And you already know how these celebrities be having these sacrifices and stuff just so they could, become even more famous or get put on. So I was wondering, I was like, and he did have some back in the day when he was younger, he was running with this gang or something like that. But he did get into trouble with the law and stuff. Now, I didn't read anything about somebody dying or drowning, but you never know. Wanda Sykes. I never thought Wanda Sykes was funny. And when I looked at her chart, I was like, I see why. She really don't have anything in her chart that really would contribute to her being funny. So Wanda Sykes, she is a Pisces. with Venus conjoined to her moon, that points to her being a lesbian. Venus is also in trine to Pluto and Uranus, so she's very much about being a LGBTQ advocate or activist. Venus semi-square Sun and sextile Chiron. Steve-O. Steve-O, he's of that whole Jackass series and all that nasty stuff. Actually, I used to think he was kind of cute. Not anymore. But I never could get into his type of humor and stage performances. I'm not into that gross out humor. I got Venus and Libra. Now you'll have some Venus and Taurus individuals that can get quite down and dirty because again, Taurus is that earth side and sometimes they take that earth energy a little bit too far. So he has Venus sextile Jupiter. That's good for making a lot of money and doing a lot of traveling. He has Venus sextile Mercury, good for writing and also, basically telling, public speaking and stuff like that. He also has Venus parallel Pluto, and that's where that filthiness comes in that he has. Anton LaVey. If you don't know who Anton LaVey is, he was the founder of the Church of Satan. Remember, I told you Taurus is the cult leader. So he is an Aries with Venus conjoined to his Taurus North Node. Venus is also conjoined to Chiron. No wonder why he was playing he knew how to play the organ and all that. He started off as a circus performer or a circus magician, if I'm not mistaken. And he does have Venus trine Neptune, which is very much the circus and being a magician. And that deals with him being playing music, but that also deals with him creating the Church of Satan. And he has Venus trine Saturn, Church of Satan again, because Saturn rules Satan. He has Venus conjoined to Mercury, so that could point to him giving advice or being a public speaker. Venus conjoined to Pallas and contraparallel Hera. When I saw those two asteroids in the mix, I was like, oh yeah, he was performing spells for people, especially revenge spells. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was like performing spells for people in Hollywood and stuff like that, because a lot of the Hollywood crowd gravitated towards Anton LaVey, including Marilyn Manson and Sammy Davis Jr., Jean Harlow, I believe Jane Mansfield, old school actress. Melania Trump, she has Venus in Taurus. Venus is conjoined to Mercury, which can result in doing a lot of public speaking. But that Venus Mercury conjunction can also deal with where your partner is basically wielding a lot of control over your mind or influencing your mind to a large degree. Venus opposition Neptune, so I would think that she's not happy in this marriage. There's times where she just wants to escape. She could feel trapped. Also, that could deal with her partner, her spouse, Donald Trump, getting involved in scandal. Venus trine Pluto, Venus trine Uranus. So that's good for becoming a power couple, Venus trine Pluto, and also good for money. Venus trine Uranus is good for basically winning over the crowd or basically having good friendships. Suge Knight. Suge Knight is an Aries with Venus and Taurus conjoined to his sun, forms a sexy square with his moon and South Node. And let me see, where's his South Node and moon at? Sagittarius. So that means his freedom could be threatened, which it was, and that's why he's in prison now. And he has Venus conjoined to Mira, which is a rather challenging star that can make him very difficult to deal with. And Venus parallel Vendemiatrix, which is another one that can deal with where he's just dealing with some underhanded energy, where he could be a thief, he could be a liar, a cheat. Mira deals with creating enmity. Why can't I pronounce that word? Enmity amongst people, or animosity, you could kind of say. It deals with failures. It can make one melancholy and also make one suicidal. Shamar Moore. Shamar Moore has Venus conjoined to Mercury. Shamar Moore is what is his sun sign? He is a Taurus. Venus conjoined to Mercury, Venus sextile midheaven, Venus quincunx moon, sesqui-square Uranus, semi-square Chiron. He got some serious issues in relationships. That Venus quincunx moon could deal with where he really is not into women, but he'll get with a woman just to act as a cover. But he does have Venus sextile midheaven in Cancer, so that makes him very much able to attract a lot of women. And he also has Venus sesqui square Uranus, so that could deal with where he has, again, he's not really attracted to women. And Uranus is in the 12th house, secrecy. He does have Venus trine Pluto. Mark Wahlberg has the same Venus trine Pluto. Both of them have Pluto and Virgo, and that deals with them having that nice physique. And Jasmine Guy. So Jasmine Guy, she is a Pisces. And she has Venus trine Capricorn South Node, Venus trine Ascendant, and she was very good looking when she was younger. She hasn't aged too well, and that deals with Saturn opposing her Ascendant. And she also has Venus in trine to Uranus, so she has some really good friends. Louis Farrakhan, remember I said Taurus is a cult leader? He has a Taurus sun, so he has Venus conjoined to the sun and Chiron. Venus conjoined to the part of fortune, so being a cult leader is very much how he makes his money. Or you could just say, let's be nice and say, espousing values and standards, creating this program for people to follow. That's how he makes his money, through the Nation of Islam. And he has Venus conjoined to water journeys, which can deal with traveling all over the world. And he used to be a calypso singer, so that goes hand in hand with Venus and Taurus. Candy Burris. Candy Burris has Venus conjoined to her sun. She's a Taurus sun, so she's all about those coins. She got Venus conjoined to Jupiter and her South Node, so when she be talking about she got money, trust she got money. She has Venus trine Moon, so that points to that close relationship she has with her mother and her aunts. Venus conjoined to Pallas, parallel Aldebaran. Aldebaran can deal with a violent death, and it makes me think of her first love, or the guy she was with. He died. I think he got shot. So yeah, there it is right there. Ty better be careful. Ty, her current husband, because he could end up dead too, dealing with Candy. She might have a little Black Widow in her. Kanye West. So Kanye West is a Gemini, and he has Venus and Taurus conjoined to Chiron. When I see that Venus conjunct to Chiron, I always think of, unconventional relationships, but also funny money. Also, he has Venus opposition Uranus. So I don't really feel like he's happy in his relationship with Kim Kardashian. He has Venus conjoined to Mars. That right there could deal with either you or your partner is basically controlling things. Things are very one-sided. He has Venus semi-square Sun, Venus parallel Ceres, parallel Psyche, and parallel Sisyphus. When I saw that, especially the Psyche, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if the Kardashian women have put spells on him. Ceres too, like they putting stuff in his food. And last but not least, we have Prince. Now, Prince, Gemini, Venus and Taurus, and that Venus and Taurus definitely shine through with him. And he had Venus opposition Neptune. That deals with him going up against Warner Brothers, the record label. That also deals with his challenges in relationships. He could never really just be that normal type of partner. He had Venus square Uranus, other challenges dealing with relationships. And that can make him rather antisocial at times. And there was times where he just had to go off on his own and do music. And then he would he would compose all the music without any input. And then he would, have the band play it and stuff during live shows and all that type of stuff. Venus sesqui square Saturn, that can make him very controlling, very exacting. Venus conjoined to Hamal, that's a very challenging star. Like I said before, it could deal with violence, cruelty, brutality. And Venus conjoined to Shadir, astrology, also good for writing. So Prince was very much into astrology. He knew all about his sign. He knew all about his chart, I'm sure. And in Paisley Park, he did have astrological symbols on, in some of the areas of that home. Well, it wasn't really a home. That was like his headquarters. All right, so that is it for my Venus and Taurus video. Let me know what you think. I'm going to let this play out a little bit so y'all can get your chat on. So I'm just going to go back through some of these pictures, and you know how I do. I be roasting, I be talking trash. That's just who I am. Speaking of roasting, those lips, I'm just saying, those lips look like they belong on the head of a dick. Just look how they're shaped and look how they're all ready for insertion. Candy. Candy actually looks really good here. Sometimes her fashion choices are a bit questionable for her having Venus and Taurus, but she does have Venus conjoined to Jupiter, and that can make her a little, outlandish at times. And I would think she spends money very, like she spends a lot of money, so she needs to make a lot of money. And I do recall that she got her daughter, I think it was a Porsche. I forget how old her daughter was, maybe like 18, and Ty had a problem with it and all that. Venus being conjoined to the South Node can deal with where she is going to run into some money problems. She definitely has money karma. Trust me, I know, because my South Node's in Taurus. But she just happens to have her Sun, Venus, and Jupiter in Taurus as well. So that helps her to stay out of the poorhouse. She has Venus conjoined to Pallas. Like I already said before, she might have taken some martial arts classes. She is very much adventurous, and that points to that Venus conjoined to Jupiter. And she talks like this through her teeth. You notice that Candy talks like this through her teeth. I noticed that Beyonce talks through her teeth too. I don't know who's worse with it. Farrakhan. Farrakhan. Now, he is the leader of the Nation of Islam. And the Nation of Islam, one of their beliefs is that the white man is the devil. But this man has been in bed with the white man for years. Trust and believe. And most recently, like a few years ago, he collaborated with the Church of Scientology, and he started teaching some of the Church of Scientology lessons to the Nation of Islam members and doing the auditing and stuff. And I'm like, yo, like that really made me open my eyes to see what he's really about. But yeah, he's a great speaker, very intelligent man. I'll give him that. But I think he's all about that money at the end of the day. Again, she has not aged well. This is one of the better pictures I found of her. I'm not trying to dog her out, but goddamn. And again, she does have Saturn opposition ascendant. So yeah, that can make you look old before your time. Like she looks like she's 75, honestly, and she's only in her 50s, if I recall. Let me see. What year was she born? I think she was born in 64. I'm bad at math. Y'all do the math for me. So she was born in 64, if I'm not mistaken. Yup. So she shouldn't look that damn bad. But genetics. I always thought he was gay. I think he is gay, especially like some of the aspects he has in his chart. I can't minimize my screen to pull up his chart to really get into it. But I mean, if he's gay, he's gay, but he's just somebody that really hasn't come out. Well, he hasn't come out the closet at all, but he has been seen in some suggestive photos. Basically, that's confirming my suspicions. But I think a lot of people suspect him of going that way. He has a tall forehead. And he's showing his age, but not in a bad way. Suge Knight. That beard kind of popping. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the salt and pepper beard, but I'm just looking at the texture of that hair. But he needs to trim it down, though. Trim it down. Trim it down. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he was suicidal because he's in prison, because he was this type of goon that thought he was running things. So when he got locked up, I bet you it hit him like a ton of bricks. He probably thought he was never going to go down, but he had dudes going down on him. This chick. Look at her eyes. Now I know a lot of that's Botox or a facelift or something, but you know, she she looks really hard. Like there's no love in her at all. Like, and obviously she got with Trump for the money factor. Now she probably didn't bank on him becoming president, having to deal with all this Rona stuff now and all this stuff. She probably look Venus opposition Neptune. She regretting that shit now. She regretting becoming the first lady now. How you like it now? Money ain't everything, honey. This dude, I mean, come on, he was a clown to me. Like, he was more about showmanship than anything, more about, getting money and, putting on these rituals and performances and stuff like that. Doesn't he have something in Virgo in the seventh house, which points to him doing rituals and shit? But yeah, he is like, I see him as being clownish, even when he would put on that. But it's funny because he has that head shape of like the personification of Satan. So he definitely, seemed like he answered his calling and he fulfilled his destiny. I'll give him that. Again, I've never gotten into his gross out humor, him and his other boys with that Dick House Productions, and just very lowbrow, appealing to the lowest common denominator with that jackass shit. And he used to do like performance art where he would staple his penis to his thigh and crazy stuff. So you got quite a few Venus and Taurus individuals, because when I was going through the list, a lot of them I didn't even, mention here, but some of them are very down and dirty, like to play in the dirt and stuff. Again, I've never found her to be funny. I don't think I've laughed once at any of her jokes. Like, what was she was in that whack ass movie Pootie Tang, and she was so annoying in that movie. Her voice is annoying. She got that annoying Pisces. Not saying everybody with Pisces energy or that's a Pisces got that annoying voice, but some people that are Pisces will have that squeaky, cartoonish voice, and she got it. And didn't she? I think she has done some voiceovers for like animated shows. Was it the Proud Family, one of them or whatever? But again, not funny. Somebody basically paved the way for her to be a comedian, because she didn't get there on her own. He's another nasty one. And another one that liked to play in the dirt and just now his sexuality has been questioned due to some of the films that he's been in. He's a big time champion of the LGBT community and stuff like that. And in an interview he did say, maybe I am gay. I think he is. Well, he's probably bisexual, but more so gay. Again, Danny Trejo, he got that spoiled potato, rotten potato look. Again, being too earthy, being too much about the material. And then, you wonder why you end up with a face like that. So I'll just say he has that good look for playing villains and for playing goons and gangsters and them old cholos and stuff. He is an old cholo, I'll give him that. Like, he was born in Echo Park, Los Angeles. So he's straight up essay cholo type of dude. Never got into Common's music. Like, even like his early days, I thought his rhyming style was very disjointed, and I didn't like that. I can't even think of the lyrics right now of a song so I can imitate him, but I never was a big fan of Common. Now, when he put out that one album where it was like, there was a few songs, I actually bought that CD. There was a few songs that was really good. Testify, Come Close to Me, Baby. And then there was another one too. That album I actually liked. So he has actually perfected his craft over the years. So I'll definitely give him that. Did I mention that he has Venus conjoined to the part of private enemies? Who the hell is blackmailing him? Or maybe somebody's blackmailing him about his true sexuality. I always suspected him of being gay. Shaka is Shaka. I don't have nothing bad to say about her. But she was hitting the coke pretty hard back in the day. So she does have Venus conjoined to Mars. A lot was going up that nose. And Chingy, he looks bad. He's like 5 years younger than me, but he looks like he's about 48. Not a good look. And why he look all greasy, like he was just frying some chicken and the grease was just popping up? I never was a big fan of Billy D. Williams. Like there was just something about him that like just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Now, I'll admit he was a really good looking dude when he was young, but that type of look really didn't do it for me. I like a man that looks more rough around the edges. He's another one that kind of talks through his teeth. Again, I love me some Patty. I love her personality. I love her spunk, her attitude. She is a true Gemini, and she'll often talk about how she's a Gemini too. Patty? Al Green was pretty fine back in the day, but he wasn't all that. Like when I really look at those pictures, but he did have that seduction that I talk about with Venus and Taurus. And he had that sensuality. But what's up with him biting that lower lip? That's kind of suspect. Nah, I think he's all about the ladies. And then after he got burnt with the hot grits, he got in touch with the Lord seriously, and then he started just singing gospel music. Left Eye, Lisa Lopez, we all know about her tragic story. Bear Grylls. Isn't it funny that his name is Bear and he's all about wildlife and nature? So Venus and Taurus. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if her and her sister are adopted. I think they are Ethiopian or Eritrean, something dealing with North Africa, East Africa, and they were probably born in the States, but they probably came from there. You know, their parents probably came from there. Barack and Michelle, they just paid the money and got these kids and was like, okay, now we a makeshift family. That's my speculation. I think Marky Mark is a little suspect. That was his rap name, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. A lot of you young people, y'all don't remember that. But yeah, he used to be a rapper, and he came out with a song. It's such a good vibration. Crazy ass dude. But I'm gonna wrap things up right now because it's getting kind of long. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this. Again, let me know what you think. I will be back very soon, hopefully this Friday night, with the live stream for Aries season. So stay tuned for that. And peace, many blessings, and I'm out. Before I go, if you would like a reading, just go to my website at rabina.com. Peace and many blessings.